This show's host will begin shortly. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Jason Phelps YouTube channel. Today, we are currently airing a live rendition of Season 1, Episode 1, the pilot of a new show all about Doug Lottreman and his family in the Bunganese lore. It's a fictional tale. It's a fictional series.
Hello, everybody.
There goes my phone. Sorry, guys. That was stupid. It's all about Doug Lottreman, the Bunganese life, and we're going to do it here. So, the story we wanted to talk about today, within Doug Lottreman and his period of time of life, given he does have access to time travel and portals, so he's been back to the 1850s, the 1870s when they built the Intercontinental Railroad. He actually, in 1878, no, it was 1888, he went down to where they put the gold spike. He went back in his time machine and went back to where they put the gold spike, and it was still there. What he did was took it. It was the only gold spike in the U.S. He took it back to the time machine, left. And he went back to modern times. And in that given stance, there was record of one being placed, and it existed, but then it was stolen. Well, Doug Lottreman went to the present times with it, and he made I guess you could say it was a good decision, because him stealing it way back then, it was so rare given at that time, because he did that in the new present times, that it was worth, given in 2024 times, this is about when the story started with Doug Lottreman, about 2024. At about 2024, he comes back to modern times from the 1880s, late 1880s. He comes back all the way to 2024 with the literal, actual it's the Intercontinental Railroad, built in the 1870s. First ever Intercontinental Railroad, I believe, in the world, actually. And he stole the gold spike in 1888. Came back to modern times with his time travel to 2024. Took that bad motherfucker to a pond. And yes, by the way, this show, we're going to swear in it. We spice up our language here. The show, not for people, I would say under 13, because we need somewhat maturity to make sure people don't flip out and try to, get mad at us for our profanity. It's just how I talk on here. It helps express the story in an even more, I guess you could say, proper manner. If some people will agree with me on that, but I don't think it's the best way to explain it. But Doug Lottreman, I forgot what else. We were somewhere in the story where, see, this is why I'm doing it live, is so that way it's replay. You can replay it back and watch me suffer, trying to remember exactly what me and my brother had planned on the storylines and lore initially with Doug Lottreman. I'm trying to think about what I was talking about. This is stupid. Yeah, so the initial story, sorry guys for the delay, but the initial story I wanted to talk about for the pilot episode of the Lottreman Files is Doug's initial service in the Bunganese Militia. It's a branch of the military that takes place of the what would be the Marines. They have everything else the U.S. has besides the Marines. Their Marines in Mongolia are just the militia. They have the Bunganyese Army, the Bunganyese Navy, the Bunganyese Air Force, and I believe then under the Bunganyese Army is the Bunganyese National Guard. They basically ripped off the U.S., but I wonder where the idea came from. But no, Doug Lottreman, he was born, so to speak, he was born in 1988. 1988 was his birth year. So let's do some math. So his service was in Syria with Mongolia. This is an alternate universe, just so to speak. It's an alternate universe, just so that way this stuff could have happened. It's an alternate universe, and nobody cares. It's never going to happen in this one, like that at least, like the story. So the service was in 2012 is when his service in Syria started, when the Bunganyese were fighting with Syria. He was born in 1988. So he was 24 years old. He was a staff sergeant in the Bunganyese militia at that time. Given he was 24. So when his service started, he was about 24, or he was 24. So he went into service in southern Syria, and he was joined by a new friend of his that he met at boot camp and stuck with him. It was actually his buddy system partner, John Batterberg. While he was, they both joined up, and they were out in South Syria. They're in a small neighborhood, and it's about 11:30 at night. John has night viz. He's got the spec ops. Doug does not. Doug is remaining off of very dim red flashlights to see, which still will very easily give away his position. He's risking his fucking life for this just to try to see, because he's trying to read important instructions that were listed on a note in the cache that they had made it to at about 11. They stayed there for about 30 minutes, and he started reading it after they got settled. Well, they walked outside. Doug Lottreman walks out to the side door, down the alley, and then to like a main road, which is in front of the buildings. He walks just to pass the second front door of the building, or the second door, the front door of the building, and John Batterberg is coming out that door. Doug Lottreman just passes it, and then all of a sudden, just fucking like that, just like that, guys. They start getting lit up at the middle of the night in Syria back in 2012 in an alternate universe. This is probably what it sounded like. It would have been bad. In the storyline as of 2026, both John Batterberg and Doug Lottreman both have moderate PTSD from wartime combat. Not good. This is what they had to deal with for almost an hour and a half on end. Just the sounds, active. It's a hot fight, a hot gunfight, and there's no getting out of it because they're all around. They're basically using guerrilla tactics with thousands of guys within a couple miles. Insane. And that's what the enemies were doing in Syria. And Doug Lottreman and his guys were sent out there from the Bunganyese militia. They got car alarms going off. They got all sorts of havoc. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. They're still hearing these exact same sounds for almost an hour and 20, just past an hour and 25 minutes. And then it stops, just like that. Gone. But literally, 30 to 40 seconds later, John Batterberg is right next to Doug. facing the opposite direction, and they're faced like this. So one's facing one way, one's facing the exact opposite. Well, John Batterberg looks up in the sky and just so happens to see somehow that the enemies have acquired a fully equipped and loaded B-24. And it's coming in at roughly 15,000. And it's a good maybe 20 miles out. He's got his binoculars, is how he's seeing it. Calls out to Doug. Yo, Doug, you got to see this. Oh, no. B-24 incoming. What the fuck? What are you talking about, John? What? Let me see this shit. What are you talking about? You lying ass. And then Doug sees it. What? Oh, my God. We got to get the fuck out of here. These guys are going to drop 500-pound bombs on our asses. Yeah, Doug, I know that. They're going to fucking kill us. They're going to kill the entire AO. These guys are willing to kill their own men just to clear us out. What assholes? Well, that I can agree with, John. And basically, it got worse from there. When the plane neared 5 miles out of their current location within the AO, they noticed that it was at approximately only 3,000 feet. That did give them some relief as to knowing that they definitely weren't anything bigger than 100-pound bombs, but still, even anything up to that, like a 100-pound bomb, a single one of those will destroy a house instantly. As soon as it goes off, the house is gone. And they know they're still fatal, and these guys are still dangerous with this B-24. And so they run probably a good half mile. They fucking rock it. They got John Batterberg has an M16A1 loaded with not 5.56, but actually 7.62 NATOs. So he's got something a little bit more kick to it and a little bit more power. By the way, they're special rounds that he got through the black market and somehow got shipped to the AO at the grounds point to his specific stash that every member in every squadron would have one. His stuff was in there. He ordered, which it's stupid he did this. It's literally a federal crime. No one ever knew because they didn't know and they would have never found out. But within the lore, it said that John Batterberg and his service in the 2012 to 2014 Syria movement with Mongolia, most of the time he used illegal hollow point 7.62 NATOs. Very interesting. That's the type of bullet with a 9mm hollow point. It goes in and it just shrapnelizes basically instantly. It shreds out and then just opens up and it stops right in your shit. Hollow points are one of the worst bullets to get hit with. And even with 9mm, they're very bad. Now just think what it would be like to have a hollow point 7.62 NATO. Absolutely ungodly awful. All it takes is one of those to the torso, and there is no saving you. You get shot in the upper left chest with one of these, you're done for. You're going to die within a minute and a half. No longer than that. And all the blood's going to be gone. You're going to be empty of blood. It's going to be bad. That's why Doug Lottreman and John Batterberg had pretty moderate PTSD after the war. It's said that they would have after the incident within the lore. Again, guys, if you're just now chiming in, this is a totally made up story that me and my younger brother made up back like 5 years ago with the Bunganese. In 2024, we introduced the character Doug Lottreman, which is why we're making the Lottreman Files. The Lottreman Files, if you're just now chiming in, the Lottreman Files is a show all about Doug Lottreman and what he did, and also stuff about his service within war. He was born in 1988, but managed to serve in World War I, World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam, and I want to say the Gulf War, Afghanistan, and then Iraq, which is all just within the U.S. He served with because at the time there was a Bunganese militia with the U.S. Bunganese embassy that was made in like 1845. It was so old, but that's what this is for. So, Doug Lottreman, he sees the B-24. He's recognized. They run down about a half mile down the road up to the north, due north on the road that heads north-south. They head straight northbound for about half a mile, and they tip off on a smaller road to the left. They make a full left base turn, headed direct west, and they head about 300 meters down that road, and then they find a Jeep. But it ain't no ordinary Jeep. This thing was once used not too long ago. Doug Lottreman estimates it's been no more than 3 hours since the terrorists, the guys in Syria they were fighting, had abandoned this vehicle. But they didn't abandon it. Doug Lottreman, almost instantly, it kicked into him. He grabbed John Batterberg by the handle of his vest and just tugged him down. They got down as low as they could beside that armored vehicle because it happened again. It was an ambush. But that's not the worst thing that happened. Only about 15 seconds into the gunfire, the gunfight going hot, Doug Lottreman, he's there. He's there. And then